Hello, hello, my illuminated soul. Welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Let's get a message for our Virgo collective. So what are the strongest energies around Virgo right now? What messages do we need to see for Virgo that can bring any type of clarity or insight to their current situation? What do we have for Virgo right now? All right, so the overall energy is the 8 of Spears, right? So you could be in your head about some things. You could have a lot of worries and concerns right now. But this is not anything that's going to be holding you or keeping you back unless you allow it, right? Because if you look at this card, this person is wrapped up and, you know, they have a blindfold on and they're surrounded by these spears. But in no way, shape, or form is this person trapped. You know, if they really tried at any given time, they can free themselves from this and, you know, get out of this situation. It's really just a mental thing, right? And then when we have the underlying card of the Star, which is like, you know, keeping hope, having faith, you know what I mean? Not letting these negative thoughts and negative people get into your head and get into your energy. You know, we want to stay in this good, positive energy, right? Because when we're trying to manifest or when we want certain things to happen, when we stay in this negative mindset, that is what we attract into ourselves, right? So we want to, you know, get and stay as much as possible in a positive, hopeful, you know, mindset. So this is, you know, to me, is telling you, you know, whatever you're going through right now, you know, these stressors and these concerns, these are all in your head. These are not things that are holding you back. The only thing holding you back is your own self and your own thoughts, right? You can get out of this at any time by choosing a different thought and thinking positive rather than negative, because negative keeps you stuck and it keeps you trapped, right? When you think positive, you can see more outcomes. You can see a better outlook. You have, you know, motivation and reason to move forward as well. Because if you look ahead and you think of negative, you know, you're not excited and, you know, doing everything you need to get there. But if you see positive ahead, you know, that puts more of a spark and a pep in your step. You know, you're more desiring to do certain things and move forward, right? And take action. So then we have the Knight of Discs, which knights do take action, right? So once you're able to get out of your head, you know, and get into a positive mind frame, you're able to align with things, right? And then you're able to take that action and move forward. And once you move forward, you're able to obtain, you know, that which you were trying to manifest, that which you were trying to bring in, like whatever you were working on, whatever you were creating. You know, once you're able to get out of your head and move forward with a positive energy, then you will start bringing into fruition, you know, all these things into your physical world, right? But it depends on your mental and your inner world, right? Because that, you know, our outer world is a reflection of that. So our inner world has to be positive and stable for our outer world to reflect as such, right? And then we have the Page of Wands. So the Page of Wands, you know, these are like messengers, but this is also about passion, about a spark of passion, you know, taking action, moving forward, you know, taking physical steps, physical actions towards our passions and our desires, getting out of our head, you know, and getting into this positive mind frame is helping us to move forward and achieve these goals and follow our passions, right? And then we have the Emperor, which that is an amazing energy to end in, right? So the Emperor is, you know, at the top of their domain. They've been all the kings. They've been all the knights. They've done all that, right? They're creating their empire. They're building something stable and strong. Like, this is somebody who is, you know, secure in their power. But this person here, you know, they have their own issues and, you know, stressors that they deal with. But this type of energy does not allow themselves to stay in this negative energy, in this confining energy. You know, they keep their power and they keep in a positive energy so they can stay in alignment, right? That's how they got to this position. That's how they're able to manifest themselves into this position, right? Because you can't keep thinking negatively. You know, you can't have a negative mindset and achieve a positive life, right? So in order to go from this to this, you know, it takes positive thinking, keeping faith, you know, being grateful, showing gratitude, taking action, moving forward, physical action, physical progress, you know, following your passions and your desires. And that is going to get you to where you desire to be, to where you are stable, you are secure, you are comfortable, you know, financially, mentally, you know. So this is a good read, you know. It's just telling you whatever's going on right now, whatever you're thinking about that's keeping you stuck, just choose a new thought. Try to think about the positive instead of always wondering what could go wrong or focusing on what is currently wrong. You know, try to focus on what could go right or what you can do to get yourself out of a certain situation, right? Because as long as we're here living and breathing, there's always another decision and another choice and another step, right? So we can always pull ourselves out of these negative situations and these negative mind frames and choose a new thought, choose a new way, choose a new path, choose a new direction. We can choose to move forward. We can choose to follow our passions. And those choices will end you if you make the right choices. Well, nothing's really right or wrong or good or bad. It just either gets you to where you want to be or it takes you further away from it, you know. But if this is where you want to be in this emperor energy, you know, it's time to choose happiness. It's time to choose positivity, because whatever you focus on, that is what you attract more of into your life. So if you're focusing on all the negative situations, if you're focusing on all the things that could have went wrong, you're going to keep manifesting more of that. But if you take those as lessons and then you grow, and then you grow from that, right? And you are able to make better decisions and choose more wisely. You know, you're able to be more discerning. That will help you get out of this mind frame and move forward and create the life that you desire. So, all right, Virgo, that looks good. Just get out of your head, you know, stop worrying yourself, stop trying to, you know, I know Virgos are perfectionists. You know, you don't have to be perfect. Everything doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to be growing and moving forward, right? All right, then. Thank you for letting me read for you. I look forward to reading again. I'll see you soon.